been playing more 5. Tristan said the other night that the role for you doesn't necessarily change, but how does it, if at all, for you when you're playing the 5 without Tristan?
I think more than anything, just trying to, I said the other night, fill in the gaps where, if Braun's playing the 4, he's almost playing a point forward. So there were times, in the first couple of series when I got put at the 5 where, I wanted to duck in, I wanted to be in the paint, but, a lot of those times, spacing the floor is so huge is with me at the 5. So I almost play a stretch 5 role a lot of the time. So I think in that way, it definitely changed a lot. And then on defensive end, interchangeable 4 and 5.
What do you try and do defensively when you don't have Tristan as the back line of defense and it's you as the back line?
Try to emulate what Tristan does, but bring that level of physicality, a lot of energy, and then just being locked into the game plan and making sure that on the defensive end that rebounding is a weapon that I can use to my advantage.
I read your interview with Jason about this the other day, but obviously you're going to be matched up with Draymond in the finals, and people like to say that that's a hard matchup for you. How do you view it? How do you view having to go one-on-one with him?
They're a tough team to go against. I mean, regardless, every position is a great matchup. It looks like, it feels like, and they have a little bit different personnel. We do too, but everybody seems to be healthy this year. So it's going to be not only at the 4 spot, but 1 through 5, and with our bench, it's going to be a hell of a battle.
He's been awfully vocal, Draymond. Some of his sound bites from fall have made the rounds recently. What do you make of when he says, I want to annihilate the Cavs, I hope it's them in the finals, and I want to annihilate them?
He's competitive. I mean, he's one of the most competitive players in the league, and, he kind of spoke this into existence. I mean, a guy that he said he wanted us. He has us starting next Thursday, and, he's a guy that brings it every single night. So, with how the finals went down last year, if I were in his shoes, I'd want the same thing.
Does he talk that much during the game too?
I don't know. He's when they're rolling, things are going his way. Yeah, I mean he's a guy that's highly spirited and he fights. So yeah, he does.
Hey Kev, it's kind of rare when a defending champion is viewed as an underdog, and in this series, that's kind of how you guys have been labeled. Do you embrace that? Do you pay any attention to that?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, we're always on our phones. It's hard not to, see it, or you have friends or family members that, they don't know what to text you at certain times, and it's you're looking at your phone no matter what. So yeah, I mean, you see it, you hear it, but the underdog thing, we don't really pay attention to that.
Do you take it, when it comes to basketball, do you take anything personally? Are you someone who gets into the bulletin board material or the personal slights when they come? Is that something that really gets
Sure. I mean, you use different things as fuel and motivation, but in some ways, it almost has to be the right thing, I guess, because so much is just kind of fluff and stupid, for lack of a better word. But I think both teams have a lot to prove, and it's going to be a really hard-fought, great matchup.
Hey Kevin,
You personally, and maybe speaking for the group, how much did you want the Warriors in the finals?
Want the Warriors? I mean, like Braun said, his post-game presser, I mean, they've been right at the top, best team in the league, for 3 years straight now. They've been, super impressive. So, it was kind of in our minds that's who we're going to see. They played great basketball this year. Obviously, adding an MVP to a team that already has a two-time MVP, that makes them even more impressive. So, I think it's tough to say we didn't expect it, but we knew that they'd be right there.
have they evolved into the team that you thought they would be with Durant?
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways when he went down, they got better and kind of got back to their old ways. So when he comes out of the game, those guys are allowed to play freely, and with Steph as well, he really stepped up and looked like his old self. And they've been especially last 2-3 months, been extremely poised and played extremely well.
You said throughout the playoffs that you were focused on the team in front of you, rightfully so, but your GM even said that you guys have been thinking about this potential matchup with the Warriors for quite some time. Is that accurate, and how long would you say?
Once. I think everybody has either wanted it or thought that it was going to come to this point. And we felt like if we played great basketball through this time, which we knew we were capable of, that that was very probable and highly likely. So two great teams playing great basketball right now. There's not much more you could ask for.
Last season, the regular season matchups you had with the Warriors led to or contributed to some changes the way your team looked. How do you view the regular season matchups this year going into the finals?
Sometimes it could be misleading, but only playing them 2 times. There's obviously Christmas Day matchup. We played them very tough and fought back when we were down double digits. Came back and Kyrie hit a huge shot, and then you see the type of team they are when you allow them to get on big runs and use their crowd to their advantage. That they can be special. So but at the end of the day, we're playing basketball in June, and it's kind of like last year. Anything can happen.
You said after the second round, I think, that you were happy with your role, whatever it was. You just wanted to win. You did have a big series personally against the Celtics. How does that help when you're going into this matchup with the Warriors and with a guy who's going to guard you tight?
Right. Momentum in this league is a unbelievable thing. Confidence and momentum. If you have that and you're healthy individually and as a team, it can really help you. So I think nobody's immune to the NBA playoffs, but no, it definitely helps not only myself but the rest of the team as well, that we're playing at a high level.
Are you taking? Tom mentioned, we all know this, you are defending champs. Is that the attitude around here? Or is it an underdog attitude?
I don't know. The whole underdog thing is funny to me because, at the end of the day, we are defending our title when we're trying to repeat, which is so hard to do. But, I think we will use it as fuel. We will use it as motivation. But as far as the idea of playing into it, it's tough for me to say that is the case. I don't feel like we're underdogs. I think we match up well with them, and I think they say the same about us.
With Steve Kerr's status still being up in the air, does that change how you view these guys? Obviously, he still has a thumbprint on his team behind the scenes, but not being there in the sidelines.
Yeah, not being there in the head coach's seat is obviously tough. On the player side and on the coaching side, you never like to see that. We wish him a recovery and wish him well. But he'll still have a huge, like you said, thumbprint and handprint on that team. And just watching all the playoff basketball and watching their games in this postseason, while he's not on the bench, he's still there at halftime. He's still being able to communicate with them and pick apart both sides of the ball. So, no, it doesn't change much.
Hey, how fresh are those games in last year's finals in your mind? Can you go back there pretty easily and take yourself right through that series?
Yeah. We watched a lot of film today, especially, and there were moments, on both sides where we could be a lot better, or we're a second too late, or a split second where they were doing their split action or getting out in transition where they're so devastating. And it's just in some cases, you tell yourself to slow down, but in that atmosphere you get sped up a little bit. So there's a lot of things we can get better at. I feel like we can get better at.
As part of the film study, obviously there's the 3 iconic plays. You on Steph, the step back 3, and the block. Were they part of the film study today?
No.
Have you watched Game 7 lately?
Other than the film, we watched a little bit of it. Not really, no. There was a lot of highlights throughout the last year and everything, but no.
When you're watching film in a game you won compared to a game you lost, does it matter? Does it bring a different feeling to you when you're watching, or is it just the plays are cut up so much you can't?
Yeah, the plays are cut up, so it's tough to decipher what what the feeling or the flow or what was happening at the game at the time. But yeah, I mean, you could see games 1 through 7. I mean, you look and we're either at home or we're away, and okay, we won that game, we lost that game, and at the bottom you can see the nice finals emblem logo, and and it says the game. So yeah, either we messed that up, or yeah, we or we won that game. So yeah, good and bad feelings. So.